Hey guys, so I want to talk briefly about Pokemon. Now, this is not a review of Pokemon. Number one, I have not watched all the Pokemon episodes, so it cannot be a review exactly. But I was thinking about it and how important it is. Now, if you don't know Pokemon, you're probably not an anime fan, because it is literally like the show that made everybody's it's like everybody's first anime that they watched, and it's a huge series in the anime world. I mean, it is gigantic because it makes up like more than half the revenue, or it used to anyway, and it has brought a lot of people into the I don't want to call it a otaku lifestyle, but you know, it's really brought a lot of people into watching other anime shows as kind of the jumping off point. Very similar to Dragon Ball Z. Some people would say Dragon Ball Z is kind of like the second step and then you jump in. But for what it's worth, this one's kind of like everybody's first anime. What about Pokemon? What made Pokemon so special that it was able to break through, and why is it still so popular is a good question. I think primarily for a lot of older people, it's the games. The Pokemon games, while they are systematic, fairly, you know what's going to basically happen. I think that they've kept them fresh enough to keep interest, and it is like it's kind of like Final Fantasy in that Final Fantasy changes a little bit. You know, some Final Fantasies are a lot different than others, but most of them are pretty similar, and but it's incredibly successful. Why? Because people like playing Final Fantasy. You know, it's got a reliable market. People enjoy playing, even though it's kind of similar to the last one. And I think Pokemon's kind of got that. You know, I mean, you know, you had triple battle saga kind of thing. That's enough to get everybody to buy the game. Like, they've got a recent release of Black and White, which is amazing. I mean, but I think overall that the video game aspect of it is amazing. Now, the show got a lot of people into it initially, and the card game. Now, the card game, I never really ever played the card game, but I collected cards, and it's the only, like, time I've collected cards beyond, like, baseball cards when I was, like, in first grade. So, it's always kind of been special. I might show them to you, and they're covered up. I'll show it to you probably in another video. But, yeah, the cards are unique. They're interesting. You know, they're not boring. You know, they're not like baseball cards. So, you know, the designs are interesting. Also, I think if you ever see people playing it, I mean, it is a large venue. It is incredibly popular, and that's a reason to play it in itself, because you can play other people. One of the problems with playing a game, getting into a card game, is a lot of times people get into card games where no one plays them. Like, you know, what's it called? Yu-Gi-Oh! Dice or whatever. I guess it's not a card game, but you know what I mean. It's like, I don't know, I don't think it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Dice, but you know, do you remember there was an episode in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they play Yu-Gi-Oh! But they roll dice for it? Come on, think back. It was like during the second season or third season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway, it's kind of like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I totally nerded out on that, so don't pay that much attention to it. But I think that the card game in that itself that is popular is a good, you know, it helps itself out. It doesn't explain why it's popular, but I think it kind of helps to explain why. You know, if you're big, you're going to get bigger usually. One negative aspect or usual complaint I hear about Pokemon is that it basically is it's a lot like dog fighting or cockfighting, in that you have a person, they throw a Pokemon into the ring, they fight basically to the death, or, you know, not death, it depends, usually not death, and basically then you put it in a cage, sorry, you put it in a cage that you carry around on your belt, and that, I mean, if you think about it that way, it does sound a lot like dogfighting, but I mean, I think that there's a big difference between actually having two animals fight and and drawing two animals fighting, if you will. Non-real animals. I mean, if you start thinking about it like that, a lot of things can become incredibly negative if you apply those rules. Anyway, that's my opinion. You might have the opposite opinion, and if you do, frankly, I understand the other point. I think that it's a legitimate complaint, but I think that it's I don't know. I think that if you ruled your life by that, there'd be so many things that you're gonna watch. Like, are you gonna watch any war movies? No. Are you gonna watch any criminal documentaries? No, because you're basically sponsoring, you know, criminal activity, and unless you believe that that law's evil, then, you know, what are you gonna do? So that's kind of where I am on it. But I do agree that that is a reasonable concern, kind of. But I just don't put that much weight into it. I think I'm rambling on about this. There's also been complaints about the dubbing of the anime series. This I completely agree with. They fucked that up. 4Kids fucked that up. It is one of the reasons that a lot of people are glad they are gone. You know, at least for me. You know, a lot of people in my generation, back then we had to watch 12 Miles in the Snow. But yeah, my generation, we're very, you know, we kind of grew up on Pokemon, and it was upsetting to see that they really kind of did a shitty job with the dub. But later on, when you get into other anime, you see that dubs can be good. So it was upsetting. Later on. But, what else is a complaint? Oh, the anime style. You know, the picture style in the anime. I don't think it's the greatest anime style in the world, but I don't think it needs to be. So I'm not a big complainer about that. I think it gets what it needs to do done. The amount of slides and everything, I think, or not slides, or whatever the fuck they're called, it's decent enough to get the story across, and that's really what's important in Pokemon. What else? I think that Pokemon is ingenious in that it takes incredibly cute looking creatures and makes them fight to the death, because that gets the oh factor and then the oh factor, and I think that works good for the show and the industry, and I think if it didn't, then it wouldn't be so successful. So that's my proof. It's not very good proof, but that's what I'm basing it on. Anyway, I guess that's basically it. I was looking at my Pokemon. I got a plushie at the con, and I was looking at it, and I was thinking, I haven't talked about Pokemon. It's a huge series. I should talk about it. So, yeah, I might have talked about Pokemon. I don't know. I've made so many videos that it's hard to keep track. So, yeah, subscribe, comment, rate. Have a great day. Bye.